Well, here we go. Free agency is basically wound down. The owner meetings are done. And I have got a couple of podcasts that are going to be absolutely fun. We're going to trim them down, not going to go nearly as long. For those of you that listened to my NASCAR podcast yesterday, a little bit of nostalgia from what some conversations had gone on between my buddy and I. And now we got at least a full week, if not a little bit more. I said I was going to do the podcast on who your team signed, the details of what was going on, what each team did in free agency, and we will get to that. This podcast is going to be focused more on the over-under win projections that came out. So over-unders got released by DraftKings. For those of you that don't know, when I do my Hawks pick six during the season, where I pick over-under against the spread, I use FanDuel. But DraftKings, honestly, when it comes to the futures and stuff like that, I do like their guys. I do like their projections. And so we're going to go through and we're going to look at the over-under. Now, this is pre-draft, so there will be a post-draft one. So this is post-free agency because most people think free agency is basically over. You got C tier, a couple of B minus tier free agents left. I think you still got some free agents that are going to be really big role players for teams. Xavier Howard, you got a lot of safeties that are still available. So I think it's players that are going to be able to make a difference, but not necessarily swing the pendulum when it comes to the win column by itself, just the overall effectiveness and aggressiveness of the team. So, without further ado, let's jump right into this. Right away, I am going to precursor this we're going to go backwards. So we're going to go NFC West to the top of the NFC, West, South, North, East, and then we're going to do the same thing in the AFC. We're going to go backwards, mix it up just because I can, because we always go the other way. So why not turn it around, flip it around, let's go the other direction. But I also want to look at, we're going to make a couple of comments. I don't want this podcast to go too long. I'm, going through everything. This is actually the 70th podcast I've recorded. You guys know there haven't been a total of 70 podcasts on my channel that I've released. This is how many podcasts I have run through trying to just get an episode that I think is, worth getting out here. The NASCAR one was actually recorded somewhere in the mid 60s. So it's harder when it's at the off season. Baseball opening day is coming up. Basketball playoff is really starting to the implications. The final 10 games, 15 games of the season is whatever it is now. So things are wrapping up, March Madness, etc. Here's the thing about football. It dominates everything. Now, I will open with this. So we're going to open with this real fast. The NFL is trying to basically create the monopoly that we all know they are, but they're trying to basically brush everybody out of everything they can. There's always been kind of like a gentleman's agreement between the leagues. We need more than just football. I know a lot of you diehard football fans are like, we need more than what? You need more than football. There needs to be more than football. Football 24/7 is not good for anybody. Okay? Football 24/7 is not good for anybody. You need more than just football. We need the other sports to at least be viable for the rest of the year. We do. We need them. It's exactly what we need. Okay? So, if the NFL is going to sweep all this other stuff out, make all these moves that they are, I don't necessarily like it because the NFL being the all in all is not a good thing. Competition breeds excellence. Greed doesn't. So I want to preface it with this. The NFL is trying to dominate and is getting very greedy in it, and it may not be the best as a whole when it comes to the consumer side of everything. Um, but more on that when we go over probably the one of the future podcasts. We're going to go over the new rules, the kickoff, the everything that got approved at the owner meetings and stuff like that, and we will go over everything there. So right away, here we go. Let's jump in. This is going to be over under. I'm going to kind of give you my picks for what I can see right now post free agency. For those of you who may not remember, I did my schedule outlook post regular season, pre free agency. I did my schedule outlook because we already knew the opponents. So I looked down the opponents, not the actual schedules, the opponents. Because there's going to be there's different layers, different steps taking to be able to do these different things. So now we're post free agency. So now let's go down the list and see what we think. And I will go off of some of the draft in my predictions. I will do that a little bit because we won't do another schedule one until probably spring training. So it'll be a big 3-4 month break. Okay. So here we go. Seattle Seahawks. Over under is currently sitting at 7.5. So when we go through each one of these, let's go with the number one. Why does Vegas put this number where it's at? Okay. Last year they were a 9-win team. They lose Pete Carroll, so they have a brand new coach. Geno Smith doesn't change anything. They didn't really lose a bunch of players, but they didn't really make any huge, ginormous free agency signings that are going to sway the pendulum in either direction. So basically what Vegas is saying is Mike Macdonald, being a rookie coach, accounts for maybe a game. That's what they're saying. He accounts for maybe a game. Game loss compared to Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll had established. Everything was established with Pete Carroll. He's going to be not rebuilding, but he's going to be building up his culture, his team, his scenarios. So I really actually like the 7.5 number that Vegas put there. So that's the why did Vegas put this there? Now the question is, what do I think it's going to be? Honestly, it's a hard number. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is this team to predict on the over-under? Truthfully, it's about an 8, maybe a 9. Because I like Mike Macdonald as a coach. I think he's going to do just fine. I know what the team is looking at for the future. I know that's there. But the other thing is, what do they have? What do they improve? What are they improving? Have they improved anything? That's the question. What are they going to do? What holes are they going to be able to fill? What holes are going to pop up that may not be there right now? So with the Seahawks, the number, it's really hard. I like the Seahawks. I do think they're going to draft Michael Penix. I don't think they have a ton of holes. I think they get beat up by the division. I think the Rams and the 49ers still sweep them. And I think the Cardinals are better than most people believe. So I'm going to probably go with 7 wins for the Seahawks. So we're going to go under right now because, well, we can. So we're going to go under for now. Pre-draft, under. It may change in spring training, but for now we're going to go pre-draft Over under 7.5. I'm going to go under with the Seahawks. San Francisco 49ers over under 11.5. I'm going over. We always have to have a team or two that dominate the NFC. Each side has to have a team that seemingly can just dominate. Well, that team has been, and probably for quite a while, will be the San Francisco 49ers. It is that team. That team is great in the regular season. They've got a lot of weapons. I don't think they're going to make any trade. They may make the trade with Ayuk. That trade with Ayuk is the only thing that I'm kind of wondering what will happen because, not going to lie, that trade with Ayuk could be a lot of things that you don't expect. Because, yes, Ayuk could be traded, and it could be in the middle of the season. Not going to lie. It could be in the middle of the season. I don't like the middle of the season trade, but it could be. So if that's the case, I think it's going to be harder for them to get to the 13 wins, but I still think they're going to be over 11.5. The Ayuk contract is really hanging over their head. I don't know what they're going to do about it. I don't know what they can do about it, but we'll see what happens. All right, the Los Angeles Rams. Before Aaron Donald retired, this number was projected to be at 9.5. Aaron Donald by himself counted as a game win. One game win was subtracted just because he retired. Well, kind of fair, but Matthew Stafford. Okay, so here we go. Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyren Williams, an offensive line that I believe has been improved. Second year guys on that defensive line. Everybody's worried about sophomore slump. This is the Rams we're talking about here, okay? The Rams are not going to have that second year slump. They brought in Tre'Davious White. They're going to draft really well. My guess is they go defensive lineman in the draft and do exactly what they need to do. Not going to lie. I think their draft is going to be really good once again, and I think they win 10 games. I think they go 10-7, so I'm going over the 8.5. Now here's the tricky one again. Arizona Cardinals 6.5 over under. Why does Vegas have this number here? Probably already predicting they draft Marvin Harrison Jr. for Kyler Murray. And this team was not that bad last year. All of these are not taking injuries into account, okay? You'll see that when we get to a couple other teams. This is not taking injuries into account. If Kyler Murray plays the whole year and he has Marvin Harrison Jr. to throw to, I think they can win 7 games. So I'm going to go off of that premise of that right there, and I'm going to say they will win 7. So I'm going to go over the 6.5. All right, here we go into the NFC South. Tampa Bay Buccaneers over under are 8.5. I think that number is once again outrageously hard, like the Seahawks. I can see them going 9-8, fighting for the 7th playoff seed in the NFC. Absolutely, I'm going to go over because I think it'll be 9. New Orleans Saints over under 7.5. I'm going to go under. I don't like the Saints coach. Dennis Allen will be fired after this year. There will be a plethora of options to take his place in the Big Easy. Derek Carr will probably get cut. They'll go after their future quarterback, which they should. Because of how the teams play, they're going to be able to scrap out some wins, but I think this will be a horrible road team. Horrible road team. Don't like how the roster is now set up. It is older. I don't think it's going to last. They will probably struggle at the end of the year. they will probably struggle at the end of the year. They're not going to have a top gear that can really be beat. So that's just my prediction. I'm going to go under the 7.5. Carolina Panthers over under 4.5. I'm sorry. I know they spent a bunch of money on the offensive line. I know they now have Deontay Johnson. They traded Brian Burns. They still got Derek Brown, J.C. Horn. I know. But they don't have Frankie Louvu, who I thought was a really big defensive leader for them. Canales is going to be good, but they don't have a back. They don't have a back that's like, they still have a lot of bad contracts, guys. They got a lot of bad contracts, and it's still Bryce Young at quarterback, 6 foot, small. He's a Tua. This is a guy, he's not going to win without a bunch of help, and I don't think they have the help for him. I'm going under 4.5. I think they go 3-14. Straight up 3-14. I think that is the number for them this year. All right, Atlanta Falcons. This one, some people are laughing at, and some people are looking at them like they're geniuses. Atlanta Falcons over under 10.5. Listen, I'm all about the over on this. Okay, I think they win 11 games. I now believe with the moves they made, they got Kirk Cousins. They got help where they needed help. When we go through the free agency list here, with the future podcasts, they got some help. I think the way the draft is going to play out, they're going to get Dallas Turner, the edge. If Raheem Morris plays a 34, I think he's still going to sign a guy like Calais Campbell to be a defensive end. I think they're going to shore up the defensive line in the draft heavily. Linebackers aren't bad. I think they're going to shore up the offensive line, defensive line in the draft, probably draft another receiver. But I think they're going to go line heavy because Raheem Morris knows you can win in the trenches. Who did he just have? Aaron Donald. If you can get an edge rusher, they haven't had listen to this. The Atlanta Falcons have not had a sack leader in double digits since 2016. 2016. Way too long. They need Dallas Turner. If they do, I think it really helps. The offense is going to be humming with Kirk Cousins, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. I like the offense. Love the offensive play calling that's going to be happening with Parker. Love what the quarterback's going to be able to do. I like where this team's at. I'm going to go 11 wins. I think they win 5 in the division now. I think they split with the Saints. Split with Saints or Bucks. I'm going to go Saints because the Saints and Falcons games just seem to get a little chippy. So I'm going to say split with the Saints, but sweep the Bucks, sweep the Panthers. They get 5 wins in the division and only need 6 wins outside. All right, NFC North. Minnesota Vikings over under 6.5. You guys know I'm not high on the Vikings. I think they need to trade away the pieces that they don't need for the future. Is Justin Jefferson a part of that? I don't know. I know they traded away some capital to be able to move into the first round to get the capital to be able to move up and draft a quarterback. So I know that's there. The reality is I don't see it. Even if it's a rookie quarterback, especially, I don't see it. Their defense is not great. You lost to Neil Hunter. Your back end, the secondary is weak, very weak. I don't like it. I don't like it. This team is not a team I'm going to really bet on doing much. I'm going under 6.5. Green Bay Packers over under 10.5. Now, what's the question here? The question is Jordan Love. The question is Jordan Love. Jordan Love has basically his sophomore year. That's what it is. Basically, it is Jordan Love's sophomore year. Does he take a step back? Does he struggle a little bit? Now that we've got some real tape, real game footage on Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur is a very good play caller. But now that we got tape on Jordan Love, our defense is actually going to play him. Start playing a little bit of press coverage on those receivers, making those timing routes get off time, make him be a quarterback, don't sit back in zone. There's a lot of question marks to it. I'm going to go 10 wins. So I'm going under. I'm going to go 10 wins for the Green Bay Packers. They go 10-7. Probably the fifth. I mean, they'll be fighting fifth or sixth seed in the wild card. Again, that's my guess. Detroit Lions over under 10.5. Absolutely over. The number one offensive line in the NFL. Jared Goff, a double running back nightmare with Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. The defense is going to get stronger. There's a lot of mock drafts saying they're going to get Chop Robinson. Chop Robinson and Aiden Hutchinson on the edges going after the quarterback, I think is a huge help for them. I think they addressed some of their secondary concerns. They'll probably draft another corner, but I think this year the leap for their rookie corner, their rookie safety, I think it's going to be good. And I got the Lions easily winning 11 games. All right. Chicago Bears. This is an interesting one. Over under 8.5. How much do you believe Matt Eberflus can coach a team? Now, if you guys have been listening, you guys know I am not high on Caleb Williams. I see a lot of Kyler Murray in Caleb Williams. A lot of Kyler Murray and Caleb Williams. I don't like what I see with Caleb Williams. I think he is way overhyped. He's small. I think he's going to have to use his legs a lot. I think defenses are going to be able to make him look smaller. So I'm going under 8.5. Honestly, a successful year for Eberflus, I think, would be 8 wins. Rookie quarterback. You know, you got players on this team. They do have players. So, yes, they've got players. You definitely got 2 good receivers, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. But I'm going to go under the 8.5. All right, Washington Commanders over under 7.5. I'm going over. I love what the Commanders have done. I love what they're doing. Whether they get Drake May or Jaden Daniels, I love the pick. I love the coach. I love the offensive coordinator. I love the positions that they've got. I like their GM. Freaking love their GM. Commanders, I think, are a huge. They big. Philadelphia Eagles over under 10.5. Most are going to laugh at this. I'm saying under. I think they win 10. I think Sirianni gets fired. I don't believe this team is actually going to be able to perform to the level that on paper says they should. Philadelphia does not have right now a leader at the head coaching position that can basically he can overcome what's being said. They don't have that right now. So I've got the Eagles winning 10 under the projected 10.5. New York Giants over under 6.5. Sorry guys, I got you going under. Got you 5 or 6 wins. You got Daniel Jones. I'm sorry. All right, Dallas Cowboys over under 10.5. Once again, going under. Under. They lost too much. They lost way too much. They have a cap hit of a quarterback that cannot win you games on his own. They lost way too much. They don't have a running back. Still, post free agency, don't have a running back. Evidently going to be drafting one in the draft. I don't know what's going to happen here. But they are definitely under 10.5. All right. One of the ones that I have laughed at, over under, Los Angeles Chargers, 8.5. Are you kidding me? Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert are going to win at least 9, if not 10 games year number 1. I know everybody's worried. They don't have any receivers. Neither did the Chiefs. Neither did the Chiefs. But the Chiefs don't have Jim Harbaugh as their head coach. Jim Harbaugh will draft receivers that can play football in the 5th and 6th round. And there's a report right now that says they are the team that if Minnesota wants to trade up to the top 5, the Chargers are willing to do it because they think they can get their guy at 11. Which, by the way, is Brock Bowers. So the reality is this team's going to win 9-10 games. I like it. I like the way the team is set up. Over for the Chargers. Now, over under 6.5 for the Raiders. Over 7 wins. They've done enough on the defensive side of the ball. They're going to be able to play football with everybody. They're going to be able to play what they need to play. I like their coach. They got a star receiver. They got a, they got a halfway decent quarterback. I don't know what their full plans are. But the reality is they got a defense that's going to be suffocating. Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby are going to make the long day longer on Sunday afternoon for a lot of players. So I got them winning 7. So we'll go over. All right, Kansas City Chiefs over under 11.5, under. 10 wins, and it comes down to the head-to-head against the Chargers for who wins the division. Yes, I know, but they got everybody back. They're older. What I find funny is that everybody forgets that this team is now older. The team is getting older. They're not getting younger. They're getting older. Hollywood Brown, big signing. You're right, if he's healthy. Travis Kelce, often injured now. Can't rely on that. I do love Pacheco. Do not get me wrong. Pacheco, I love. I love Rashee Rice. Reality is, they're strapped at the cap. They had to trade away L'Jarius Sneed. Their defense had to keep them in games a lot. And I think with a tougher conference and a really tough schedule, I got them winning 10 games. All right, Denver Broncos over under 5.5. I'm sorry, I got them going under. Listen, I love Sean Payton. You trade away Jerry Jeudy. You're taking a ginormous cap hit this year. Everybody knows it. You're setting yourself up for 2025. I know it. I see it. It's clear. If they don't draft Bo Nix, my thoughts are they try to trade up and try to go get Shedeur Sanders. That is exactly what I think they do next year. Just my feeling on it. All right, AFC South. This one's a little odd. So this is, remember, no injuries, blah, 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 blah. Tennessee Titans over under 5.5. They're going to be scrappy. This is what I told somebody just the other day. We were talking about the teams that have made some moves. They've made moves. Big signings. Calvin Ridley. They just got L'Jarius Sneed. This year, I don't like their coach. You guys know this. Brian Callahan. We'll see. They're going to go offensive line. If I'm the Titans, I'm trading back into the first round if I can. Somewhere around 25 to 28, maybe even 30s. 25 to 30. Let's do that. 25 to 30. Trading back into the first round if Armonius Mims from Georgia is still on the board. Get Joe Alt left tackle. Get Armonius Mims right tackle. Skoronski's your left guard. Chesbury, I believe, is the center. You'll be good. That's an offensive line that after it gels midway through the season, you'll be able to pull out 3-4 wins maybe. And that's exactly where I think they're going to be, 3 or 4 wins. I think they'll be a hair better than Carolina. They will not be a team that you can easily beat. They're not going to be an easy beat, but you're going to beat them. I think they wear down in fourth quarters a lot, can't close out games. That's what I think the Titans are this year. Next year, potentially, look out. So we're going to go under 5.5. Jacksonville Jaguars, 8.5, over, under, over. Easily 9, maybe 10 wins, period. Indianapolis Colts, 8.5, over, under, under. I know. Here's the problem. When your documentary, yes, I am ranting now, deal with it. When your documentary is about keeping the players home, give me a break. 49ers let Chase Young walk. They signed 3 defensive ends to replace him. They let Eric Armstead walk. They would sign 2 players. Texans made the playoffs. First year with the coach. Rookie quarterback. Hit. Got your edge rusher in Anderson. Not good enough. Let's go get Danielle Hunter. Shazier. Let's go revamp the whole dang secondary. Lonnie Johnson. Akuda. Let's just go fix everything we need to right there. Like, give me a break. Teams that's only signed their own players don't play in January. They don't play late in January. They definitely don't play in February. $72 million of cap space, $50 million gone already to our own players. Overpaid for Grove Stewart really badly. Number 26 run defense in the NFL. Yet we're going to sign the big guy who is a stalwart of our defense. No, he's not. You are the 26th run defense in the NFL. 26. 335-pound lineman. Need him. No. You need a guy who can actually play the run. Michael Pittman, 1,000-yard season, most catches. Duh, he ran all the crossing routes. Alec Pierce, and I have harped on this for a long time, and the evidence is damning. Not going to lie. Alec Pierce ran 77% go routes. He was open on 50% of those 77%. Over half the time he was open, but Minshew doesn't have the arm to get it to him, or else Pierce would have had a huge season. Huge season. But our number one is just doing crossing routes across the middle. Because the number one receiver only does those things, evidently. But he's worth $23 million a year. Give me a break. All right, rant over. Either way, they're not going to get over 8.5. Houston Texans over under 9.5. That's low. I'm sorry, they've made enough moves. Their draft trade with the Vikings, I think, really helps give them the ability to really solidify the role players between the 2 seconds, the third, and the 2 fourths they now have. I like what they've done. I love what the moves the GM has made. They got Joe Mixon. Like, give me a break. All right, AFC North. Let's wrap these things up here. Pittsburgh Steelers over under 8.5. Sorry, Tomlin. Magic eventually runs out. Under. Cleveland Browns over under 8.5. Yeah, this one's hard. I'm going 9. So I'm going to go over because Stefanski's that good. Cincinnati Bengals over under 10.5. Under. Under. I think the T. Higgins situation is going to get interesting. Losing Tyler Boyd, I think, will be important. Only Burrow and Jamar Chase. Zach Moss is not a number one running back. I don't know what they're thinking. They had to save cap. It's a forced move. I know they had to do it. It's not a good thing for them at all. So I think they're under 10.5, 9, maybe 10. Maybe 10. Baltimore Ravens over under 11.5. Absolutely over. Minimum 13-4. Best 14-3. And the number one seed in the AFC. Again. All right, here we go. The last division, the AFC East. This one gets really interesting. New York Jets over under 9.5. Over under 9.5. Now they have players, okay? They do have players. And if I'm them, I draft a quarterback in the 3rd round. Rodgers isn't going to play there forever. And Rodgers is old. And honestly, he's a statue. I think if they win, it's going to be early. And when they lose, it's going to be when it gets cold weather and Rodgers can't move. So I'm going to go under the 9.5, maybe 8 wins. New England Patriots over under 4.5. Listen, I kind of like the moves they've made. I really do. I kind of like the moves that they've made. None of their moves really bother me at all. I think they've switched around their philosophy, and I like what they've done. I really do. All right, so we're going to go, you know what? We're going to give them 5 wins. I think they probably pick 3rd or 4th again next year. Not going to lie, I really do. I think they probably pick 3rd or 4th again next year. All right, the Miami Dolphins with an over-under win total of 10.5. I'm going under. They lost so much of their defense. Their defense basically walked out the door. Jerome Baker, Christian Wilkins, Xavier Howard's gone. Their defense is in shambles. They lost Vic Fangio. Mike McDaniel is a doggone good play caller. They still have Tyreek Hill, but they're going to have to outscore everybody. They will have to outscore everybody. And I don't think they do it. They go under 10.5 wins, maybe only 9. They lost their linemen. I don't like where the Dolphins are heading. I think they've got a huge drop-off. And then the Buffalo Bills, 10.5, they get 11. I think they get 11. And I think they're going to look rocky early as they try to get everything figured out. But the reality is, Josh Allen, they will get it figured out. They still may make the Diggs trade, which I would do. I would absolutely do. Well, any of those teams between 25 and 32 at the bottom of the 1st round, trade them Diggs. Right now, really figure out if you could get, figure out if you could get the Packers pick. Trade Diggs, get the Packers pick. The Packers don't have a lot of holes. Now, if he got Diggs, I predict the Packers to probably really challenge the Lions. Not going to lie. But, there's some teams that could really use Diggs. They got the cap space. They could do it. And then you could kind of reset, get your new receiver in there that's going to be able to gel with, Josh Allen. You're probably going to draft multiples. Works for me. Go do it. Do what you got to do. The window isn't closed. I hate it when people say that. They got Josh Allen. It ain't going anywhere. So I'm going to go over with 11 wins for the Buffalo Bills. So there you go, guys. Over-unders, post-free agency, pre-draft numbers. Once again, those are the odds those are the numbers that were given out by DraftKings. And should be a really fun season. I'm absolutely looking forward to this. So there we go, guys. That is going to be it. That is absolutely going to be it for this one. Ran a little bit longer than I was originally thinking I would, so we're going to call it quits here. And tomorrow we will probably, or the next episode, we will probably go over some of the stuff that took place in the owner meetings and see what the outlook is for the 2024-2025 season. All right, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and share it. Sorry, it's been rocky. I know the off season kicked in. It's been rocky. It's just the information, and it's football fans love football, and unless there's football, there's not a lot to talk about between basketball and baseball. But so I appreciate you guys sticking it out, and we got some football news, so we'll have a few back-to-back podcasts here shortly. So thank you so much for listening, guys. Have an absolutely great rest of your day. Until the next one, this is Sports Talk with Hawk. I'm Hawk, and I'm out.